Hello everyone, my name is Aldika Bagus Ananta and I am a software engineering student that is currently pursuing my final year project. In this presentation, I want to explain to you about my final year project reflection and the topic itself named Bersama, an investment platform for supply good company. I want to explain to you why I choose this topic and my what is the design of my project and what is my planned path to develop this system. Before we get into the explanation, I want to acknowledge several people first that has helped me throughout my final year project. First of all is Dr. Masita Mitigasali as the supervisor of my final year project. And second is Mr. Zefri Ananda as the owner of PT Berkah Hasana Bisa Bersama and the stakeholder of this project. With their dedication guidance, I am able to realize this project for my final year project topic. In this presentation, there will be 5 talking points that will explain to you about Bersama. First is the introduction, next is the literature review, system development methodology, requirement analysis and design, and lastly is the conclusion. First is the introduction of the project itself. And before we get into the explanation of the project, we have to know who is the stakeholder and what does the stakeholder do. The stakeholder of this project is PT Berkah Hasana Bisa Bersama, and they are a good supply company that helps to purchase materials to anyone that needs them. The importance of significant capital to allow operation is very crucial for supply good company. And this may lead to several problems. PT Berkah Hasana Bisa Bersama always seek to find investor for all their projects. Unfortunately, there is a lack of medium to attract potential investor to inject funding to our stakeholder. And it causes several problems, which are the need to communicate to investor for every new project. Investor cannot widely choose which project to invest in, slow growth of investors, and this may lead to many potential investment being lost. And without the help of investor, PT Berkah Hasana Bisa Bersama faces the hurdle to growth stagnation of their business. The aim of this project is to solve those problems and to elicit the requirement and plan of the development of Bersama. This will allow good supply companies to request funding placement that will allow their project to be listed in the app for investor to invest in. The system of Bersama will have two significant aims for the user. It wants to be friendly and secure. The scope of the projects are first the intended user of Bersama, our investor, and good supply companies such as our stakeholder. The system is a web-based investment application, and the system unfortunately will not include the payment system due to the restriction of the local authorities. The system will offer investment project from verified good supply companies. The next talking point is the literature review. To know how the system will be designed, we first have to gather the current business process of the stakeholder. PT Berkah Hasana Bisa Bersama starts their business by receiving a purchase order from a customer, which are usually major factories around the island of Java, Indonesia. Once they have received the purchase order, they will gather the funds that will be needed to purchase this order item for the customer. And sometimes they will seek investor to help them grow their capitals. And once the capitals are gathered, our stakeholder will find and seek manufacturer and seller of those items. And once those items has been purchased, the items will be delivered to the customer. And once the transaction has been ended, the payment will be received by our stakeholder within 1 or 2 months time range. In Indonesia, the business of online investment growth has been thriving in the last few years. In the last 3 years, there has been an increase in public financial understanding by 8.33%, as well as an increase in access to financial products and services by 8.39%. This shows the correct path that we want to pursue to resolve the problem of our stakeholder, an investment platform. And it is supported by the fact that the growing favor on investment application is shown between the year of 2019 and 2020 that the growth investment platform user is in the range of 56%, which shows that Indonesian people are very interested in investment. And we want to get those people to help our stakeholder resolve their problem. To better understand the system that we want to develop, we first have to analyze the systems that are currently circulating around the business of investment. The two famous investment platform in Indonesia that has the similar business principle as our stakeholder are Crowdfunding and Alami. Crowdfunding is a both mobile-based and web-based investment platform that helps small and medium enterprises to gather investment and help their business process, similar to what our stakeholder does. And Alami too. Alami is an investment platform that is mobile-based that helps small and medium enterprises to gather funds for their business process. Now, from the analysis of both system, we found that four recurring features is always used. First is the verification for the user. To allow user to place an investment, the user must have verification first. And of course, the project list, which listed all the projects that are available to be invested in. And the project details to allow a more open information to the investor so that it will pull them to place an investment in the system. Now, to build the system that we want to make, we have to use several technologies. The first is the framework. It will help us as the backend of our system, which is Laravel. Laravel is a common web application framework that is widely used all over in the web in the internet. Next is the code editor, which is Visual Studio Code, one of the famous, if not the famous, code editor that will help us to implement the languages, which are HTML, CSS, and PHP, to create the website that we want to make. And to save the data of all of our system, we want to implement MySQL, the most famous database system that has simple syntax and is very easy to use. Now, the next talking point about our system is the system development methodology. The waterfall, and in this system, we choose to use the waterfall model, which is the earliest SDLC model that is used in the software development. And it emphasizes on a linear structure where one task will be the focus until it's done. There are several phases of the development itself, which are requirement gathering analysis, system design, implementation, integration testing, deployment of system, and maintenance of the system. In this project, we will only reach the deployment system as the maintenance will be out of the range of the project itself. Now, the selection was made mainly to adjust the schedule that has been set for software engineering project 1 and 2, where in software engineering project 1, we have to gather all of the requirements and details and the design of our system. And in the part 2, we will develop the system fully. The system requirement is not too high, as it's a web-based system. We will only have to need two hardware, the Android-based mobile application and a laptop. Both of them have to have a web browser that will allow the access to our Bersama system. The next talking point is the requirement analysis and design. Now, in here, we have created a use case design that represents the user of our system. There are currently 4 actors that represents each basis of users. The first being the investor, which are capable to view all the investment available in the project and place an investment once they are verified. Next is the good supply company, such as our stakeholder, that is able to place a funding project placement and view the funding project placement status. Now, this request will then be transformed into investment project by our admin. The admin is very crucial to the system as they are the one that manage the user, manage the funding request, and manage the investment. Once the good supply company has placed a funding request, they will first have to be analyzed by the admin, and if they are to be verified, the admin will place an investments that will be shown in the system and can be seen by the investor where they are able to place an investment. But before the investment is placed, the investment has to be first verified the admin. That is the basic flow of our system. Now, the system architecture design, we implement MVC architecture, or probably the most common architectural design to build a website, especially Laravel. Laravel framework supports model view controller architecture very well. The main The MVC separates the layers of the system into three parts: the model, which handles the data; the view, which is the interaction UI that is going to be communicating with the user; lastly, the controller, the the layer that controls the data manipulation and the processes that the user requests to the system. Now, the interface design, we want to make the design as simple as possible. We want to be, we don't want it to be busy, and we want it to be easy for beginner, as you know, investor beginner. We want the application to be open to public. We don't want to restrict anyone to just advanced investor to invest in our website. As you can see, the user interface of investor homepage and the interface of investment project list are some of the representation of our interface design. Now, we have reached the conclusion of our project. Now, in the project itself, there are two objectives that has been worked during the implementation of PSM1 or final year project 1. First is to elicit the required documents and papers that plan the development of an investment mobile application and its controlling web-based application. Two is to design and develop a business project private funding system that is able to show investor all information on project they invested. The first objective is fully accomplished, whilst the second one is not being able to accomplish due to the development process being done in the final year project 2, which is going to be the next part of our project. The second phase of the final year project of System Bersama is to develop the system and test it. Development system will refer to the SRS, SDD, and the basis of the system that has been developed to build to design the system. And to ensure no deviation from the design in SRS and SDD, cross supervision from the supervisor and the stakeholder will be conducted. After the system is developed, the testing will be conducted before handling the final product to the stakeholder. Ensuring the final system works is the prioritization of PSM2. And by completing the testing, the final product is ready to be released to the user and will accomplish the objective of final year project. That's all that I can explain to you about my project. To view or to read the more extended explanation, you can check my thesis and my which include my SRS, SDD, and SDD documents. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.